basically, why are we doing this? And it says, well, per FSMA, or we're doing this because basically we have to, per FSMA, or A130, or FIPS, or whatever it is. So that's not something that I typically read when I go into each of the documents, but whenever I open up a federal document, it would go to that beginning paragraph, and you can pull out the keywords, OMB, A130, FSMA, or et cetera, whatever it is. And so you don't want to read those paragraphs, you just want to quickly scan until you basically find the all caps section of that paragraph and go, okay, we got to do this because of FIPS, because it's the standard, or we got to do this because it's the FSMA Management Act, or whatever it is at hand. We're going to spend a lot of time in 837, which is your risk management framework. All right, so government laws. We're going to look at government laws, different risk framework, gap analysis, security topics. There's a lot to know inside the security controls in the real world, and then some of the monitoring controls. So this is the big picture on which we're focusing on, plus test questions and getting through this. And we're going to, in this class, we can actually take some of the practice test questions together, and I'll show you what I see, show you how I process the questions, and how I derive the answer that gives me the best chance of getting graded correctly. Because are you guys technical? Would you consider yourself highly technical? I will often say this, that we have personality types in IT. You're either a manager, you're, what was it? The personality types would be something called PALTO, what I call PALTO, so write this down. P-A-L-T-N-O. Stands for physical, write it down, physical, administrative, logical, or technical, or operational. And so you'll find different personality types in the workplace. So when you want to move mountains, you have to quickly identify who is who in any sort of meeting room that you're in. You have people that are physical security oriented. They get all of the stuff when it comes to locking the doors, access control systems, basically access control inside and out, or even facilities management. I would put on that. Then you have your administrative personalities. These are the people that love the policies, the standards, the procedures, the guidelines, etc., etc. Then you have your techies, the logical technical folks. Those would be your subject matter experts, or SMEs. And then you have operational stuff, which is basically your day-to-day stuff. People that are good at day-to-day stuff, they don't necessarily like the policy or the technical stuff, but they're in it for the day. Those are the guys that are typically there early in the morning to late at night. They just love being at work. So if we have a problem and we're all in a board meeting and we have to solve a problem, it's important to recognize the personality. Let's say a laptop gets stolen. The physical person would say, well, you should have used the lock for your laptop and then it would have got stolen. The administrative personality would have said, we should have had everybody sign the policy, follow the procedures for securing the laptop, and acknowledge it. You have your technical person which said, I would have used a low jack for laptop, or some sort of phone home or tracking or drive encryption or something else. And then your operational person, which, they would say something that has to do with the day-to-day aspect of, what was here yesterday, but it wasn't here the day before, or today. So which answer is the right answer?
They're all right.
It depends on the point of view. So you don't necessarily, one answer is not necessarily better than the other, but you have to at least understand and appreciate where that person's coming from. The problem comes, in my opinion, the problem comes in if you have a room full of administrative people and you're the only technical person, and you're saying, no, we got to do it, you got to think about this technically, and then they want to solve the problem with policy. Is that the best way to do? Or more importantly, can you say, not only can you offer something technically, some technical substance, but how about let's also add an administrative control, let's also add a physical control, let's also add an operational control, and then we can get 4. So you have to understand the point of view. You guys, you ever read Stephen Covey? Stephen Covey is big in the leadership world. And he often refers to things as looking at things through a lens. So these are different lenses in which you can focus in on different material. So if you're only looking at it from the technical point of view, you can't really see the administrative bit. The reason why this is important, I'm making a big deal about it, is because when you're reading your test questions, you need to understand where this is coming from. Are they looking for a technical answer? And this goes, this is generic across the board. Do they want the technical answer? Do they want the administrative answer? And so where people go wrong in this CISSP class all the time is you have technical people, and this is where technical people goof up a lot. Technical people will want to muscle through with their technical ability because they know better, or they have real world experience, and they're very hard-headed on that. And they will fight their answer to the death and believe that the answer is the answer because they know better. And that may not be the answer that's graded correctly. So when you can look at the different points of view, then you can say, oh, you know what, from the administrative point of view, I see why that would be the right answer. And that'll help you on the tests as well. Any test you take, that would help you. All right. All right, so target audience here. All right, so 837 is clearly the risk management one. We're gonna reference that over and over again. You guys really should know 837 inside and out. But it has to do with the design, the development, implementation, operation, and disposition of federal information. So when you see this right here, what do you think of? What is that? It's not, to pass this exam, it's not only what you see, but it's what you don't see. So this is what you see. But what's there that you don't see? 2 words. First word begins with an L, last word begins with a C. Life. Cycle. See the difference? It's not only what you see, but it's what you don't see. So I want to tune you guys into the different frequencies. I see life cycle when I see that. So the life cycle of risk management in itself. So the owner, right? Somebody's got to own the information, right? We know what a data owner or data custodian is? You ever heard those terms?
We have system owners.
Yeah, system owners or system custodians. The system owner owns the information, and then the custodian protects it. You can use I use a classic real estate example for that. The owner of the building owns the building, but the custodians protect it on a day-to-day basis. All right, same thing with information, IT information. All right, so life cycle with ownership responsibilities. Also the development, the integration. All right, let's get this stuff going. That's early part of the life cycle. Oversight, who's providing guidance or oversight functions. Then our assessors. These basically are our creditors, the people that come in and, in theory, do an independent review of the system and then offer recommendations. And then, of course, they should hand off those recommendations to somebody who's actually going to go change the system. We typically run into a fundamental problem when it comes to a lot of this material, and the fact that our acquisition process takes forever. Agree or disagree? I mean, forever. I mean, you could by the time you buy something, you want to buy a new server, it could take you 1.5 years to get that server. And by that time, the minute you purchased it, it's already 2 years old. By the time you get it, it's completely out of date, right? So there's natural things those are some of the mountains I talk about we have to move, right? How are you going to do this efficiently and effectively when right in the middle of what you're trying to do, you got 1.5 years to wait? Think about that, what that means in terms of the workplace. How many people are at a job for 1 year, 1.5 years? So you got these people that buy this stuff, buy solutions, if you will, and they never get to see them implemented because they move on to something else before their purchase order ever comes back to them, right? So how does that affect accountability? How are you going to hold somebody accountable to that when you might look at the end result and go, who in the heck did this, right? Well, that guy left. Well, where's his documentation? It left with him, right? Again, some of the natural mountains that we have to move. So I'm going to get you as fluent with this as humanly possible. You're going to have your training manual. I'll give you a CD. I didn't put it in your binder, but I'll give you a CD with all your federal documents on it. Basically anything you would need for this course in terms of references. but I want you to find them yourself. You know, I wasn't there that day, I forgot, my dog ate my homework, I don't know, what am I gonna do? I need to find this quickly, right? In theory, right? It's always quickly. And so I'm gonna take you through the manual, let's go look this up. It's typically nothing more than a couple Google searches, but I'm hoping that by looking the stuff up, that we actually remember it because we did it. But I will provide you a CD simply for the sake of simplicity. Alright, and then of course the good, the bad, and the opportunity. So, are you guys familiar with Six Sigma?
A little bit.
So what's a little bit? Tell me everything you know about Six Sigma.
Well, to say that I know about it is to say that I've heard of it.
Okay, fair enough.
In all of these classes.
Okay, well Six Sigma is process improvement, basically.
That's right. Yeah.
So you think about the Henry Ford and the Model T, right? The assembly line. Well, we had basically, in America, we had capitalists that built the automobile industry. Well, the Japanese come up along and they say, you know what? Well, let's completely take that apart, analyze it statistically, and then go ahead and eliminate all of the waste and redundancy. So, for example, in the assembly line, if you're building an engine, you don't want to have to go to your toolbox all the way, across the room, because that could be 15 seconds over the course of the lifetime of everybody. That adds up, so that's considered waste. So literally, when the engine comes, they drop the stuff right down from the ceiling, and then it goes right back up. And that's process improvement. So I apply that same process in these classes, so that way every class gets better than the last. All right. So the feedback that I need for that to make that happen is normally twice a day, lunchtime, end of the day. I ask you what you like about today, what you didn't like about today, and where can we improve. So what you guys get this week is you get basically the combination of all of the classes behind. Everybody's done a lot of the hard work already for you, but I always look for you guys to provide input for the next class so that, again, process improvement takes hold and ultimately we get better and better and better and better. And then there's the end of the course survey, which is pretty standard. So, how do you like me so far? So far, is it good?
So far, so good.
Lights too dim? Alright. But I do want to take a quick break here